The Star Trek. Voyager episode was when I started loving a controversial character. Every Star Trek series has its controversial characters, the ones that spark fierce debate among fans. For Star Trek, Voyager, no character stirred the pot more than 7 of 9. Introduced in Season 4, she was immediately polarizing. Some fans saw her as a cynical ratings ploy, an ex-Borg with a skin-tight catsuit and a cold demeanor. Others saw potential in her complex backstory and outsider perspective. But for me, it wasn't until the episode The Raven, Season 4, Episode 6 that I truly began to love 7 of 9. Up to that point, I wasn't sure what to make of her. Jeri Ryan's performance was undeniably commanding, but 7 often came off as aloof, arrogant, and emotionally detached. She dismissed human customs, challenged Captain Janeway, and seemed more machine than woman. But in The Raven, the mask cracked, and what emerged was something deeply compelling, vulnerable, and human. The episode begins innocently enough. Janeway encourages 7 to explore her humanity by eating real food and participating in social life aboard Voyager. But something is wrong. 7 starts experiencing hallucinations, flashes of Borg symbols, distorted sounds, and overwhelming fear. At first, she believes her Borg implants are malfunctioning. But as her visions intensify, it becomes clear that she is haunted by repressed memories. She steals a shuttle and follows a subconscious pull to a remote planet, drawn to a wrecked ship called the Raven. Here's where it all clicks. This episode isn't just a sci-fi adventure. It's a metaphor for trauma and identity. We learn that 7's real name is Annika Hansen, and she was assimilated by the Borg as a child. The Raven was her parents' vessel, the place where she lost her humanity. Her hallucinations aren't system glitches. They're the cries of a fragmented psyche trying to reconcile a stolen past. Watching 7 standing in the ruins of the Raven, memories flooding back, I saw her not as a cold former drone, but as a tragic figure. A child ripped from her parents, turned into a tool of destruction, and now thrust into a life she barely understands. It's heart-wrenching, and suddenly, all her earlier arrogance made sense. Her resistance to humanity wasn't ego. It was fear. She had no roadmap for human connection. She was a stranger in her own skin. This episode also highlights Jeri Ryan's incredible acting range. In The Raven, she conveys 7's inner struggle with nuance and restraint. The way her voice trembles when she says, "I was afraid," or how she grips the wreckage as if it could anchor her to something real, it's all beautifully understated. It made me reevaluate her earlier stoicism, not as a flaw, but as a defense mechanism. Captain Janeway, too, deserves credit. Her compassion in this episode is pivotal. She doesn't scold 7 for stealing the shuttle or putting the crew at risk. Instead, she recognizes what's happening. 7 is remembering who she was. Janeway's presence in the wrecked Raven is calming, maternal even. She doesn't push. She simply says, "We'll get through this together." It's a turning point in their relationship and a moment of quiet grace in a series often dominated by action and technobabble. Beyond the character development, The Raven excels thematically. It tackles the question of identity with Star Trek's trademark blend of science fiction and emotional realism. What makes us who we are? Are we the sum of our memories, or something more? For 7, the answer is complicated. She's no longer fully Borg, but she's not quite human either. The episode doesn't resolve that conflict. It just acknowledges it, and that's what makes it powerful. After The Raven, I began to see 7 differently. Her interactions with the crew became more layered. Her arguments with Janeway were no longer mere insubordination. They were philosophical clashes between logic and emotion, structure and chaos. Her struggle wasn't about becoming human. It was about reclaiming humanity. And that journey, awkward, painful, and courageous, made her one of Voyager's most compelling characters. Ironically, it's 7's controversy that makes her great. She wasn't meant to be.